My Gavanden, folks. We are back and we're about to solve a second-order nonlinear differential equation. Now, this one was sent to me by my good friend Michael Hill, and he actually got this differential equation by modeling an actual problem at work. Yes, this is actually a differential equation from chemical engineering. We're interested in solving for y in terms of x, where y is the temperature above the ambient, or ambient. My pronunciation can be whack sometimes. But anyway, y is the temperature function in Michael's setting, and x is the radial distance from the center of the silo or a reactor, where a decomposition reaction is taking place. Auto decomposition or something like that. Again, I don't really know much chemistry and I do not remember what was written in that message. I should have checked what kind of reaction was happening, but whatever. A reaction was happening among chemicals, heat is being released, temperature is rising, blah, blah, blah. And this is the differential equation that describes the steady state. Now, the objective is to solve this differential equation and ensure that the reactor does not explode. Good news is that the reactor did not explode, so that's how Michael knew that his solution worked. Michael, you're a hero, just like all the other engineers watching. Yes, sir. Real heroes don't actually wear capes, they wear engineer hats. Shout out to all you engineers watching who have subscribed and liked my videos, and in case you know any of your engineer friends who don't watch the channel, share this video to them and keep spamming it until they do. Hell yeah. So wait, what exactly was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was talking about actually solving for y as a function of x. But there's a bit of a bonus problem in here as well, and that is we're interested in also finding the maximum value of this parameter delta such that a steady state solution exists. And we are given some initial conditions that are going to help us in this regard. Okay, cool. Let's make some observations about the structure of this differential equation and notice that the left-hand side looks exactly like the radial part of the Laplacian. So if you have a function u that is a function only of r, the radial distance from the center, then del square u would be equal to d square u, terribly sorry about that, d square u over dr squared plus 1 over r du over dr. So that's neat. And on the right-hand side, we do have e to the y. So this differential equation is of the Liouville type. It's Liouville or Louisville. Again, my pronunciation, I really hope I'm not butchering this guy's name in the comment section. Who is this guy? Well, he's a mathematician and now he's dead. That's all we need to know. But the other thing we do need to know is that there is a solution to such a type of differential equation or such a structure. And that solution, the Liouville type solution, is of this form: y equals to log a minus 2 times, terribly sorry about that, 2 times log of 1 plus bx squared. And that seems kind of random, but it actually makes perfect sense. It's a second-order differential equation, so you do need two constants of integration, a and b. And if I combine the logarithms, this turns into log of a over 1 plus bx squared squared. And the reason this works so damn well is because you have the logarithm of some 1 over quadratic term. And here you have an exponential function which cancels out with the logarithm quite nicely. And the derivatives of this type of function actually do suit our structure quite well. We will get some kind of quadratic term on the right-hand side to match the quadratic term on the left-hand side. I think I mixed up what I was talking about. We will get some kind of quadratic term in the denominator for the left-hand side to match the quadratic we'll get on the right-hand side thanks to the exponential and the logarithm combo. It's a lot easier to show you rather than verbally explain what I'm talking about. So what I'm trying to say is that y prime is of the order of 1 over 1 plus bx squared, and y double prime will be of some kind of 1 over 1 plus bx squared squared, and e to the y would be of the order of 1 over 1 plus bx squared squared. So like I said, this conforms very nicely with our differential equation. So it's not exactly completely random. There is some intuitive reasoning behind it. Okay, cool. So now it's time to actually calculate these derivatives. And for that purpose, I'm going to rewrite this thing. Oh, terribly sorry about that. I think I've messed up the font. So let me just, I've actually messed up the pen. So y here is log of a minus 2 times log of 1 plus bx squared squared. So y prime equals negative 2 times 1 over 1 plus bx squared squared. By virtue of the chain rule, we have another factor of 2. And then we're left with 1 plus bx squared again. And then we have to differentiate this bad boy over here. So that's 2b times x. So we do have to realize I've made a mistake. It's supposed to be, the 2 is over here. So I didn't need it over there. Terribly sorry about that, but we should still have, I mean, this is negative 2 and then 2bx. But yeah, so that means we have this negative 4bx over 1 plus bx squared term. That is the first derivative. And for the second derivative, we have y double prime, and now we need to apply the quotient rule. So 1 plus bx squared times the derivative of negative 4bx is just going to be a negative 4b minus the two negatives canceling out. We have 4bx, and differentiating here gives me 2 times bx. Okay, cool. 1 plus bx squared, whole thing squared in the denominator. I'm going to have to clean things up and do some algebra, which I will probably mess up right now, but then return to it in a corrective comment. Plus 8 times b squared x squared. So that's got to be a plus 4 b squared x squared. Terribly sorry about that. Over 1 plus bx squared squared. So that's our y double prime. And now it's time to plug everything back into our differential equation. So on the left-hand side, we had d squared y over dx squared plus 1 over x times dy over dx. So for y double prime, if we're multiplying for y prime, that is, if we're multiplying by 1 over x, that means the x term cancels out in the numerator. And we're left with negative 4b plus 4b squared x squared over 1 plus bx squared squared plus something that is, wait, that's a negative sign, so minus 4b over 1 plus bx squared. So after some simplification, this is our denominator. And upstairs, we're going to have negative 4b plus 4b squared x squared minus 4b times 1 plus bx squared, which is dope, I guess, because I do see some cancellations happening. We have negative 4b plus 4b squared x squared minus 4b minus 4b squared x squared. And yes, we do have the cancellation taking place. So that means, wait, I forgot the other term. Oh yeah, negative 4b, negative 4b. So the result is negative 8b, terribly sorry about that, over 1 plus bx squared squared. So that is our left-hand side. Whereas on the right-hand side, recall that we had this negative delta times e to the y. So we have negative delta times e to the logarithm of a over 1 plus bx squared squared. And again, there is some cancellation taking place. So we have negative delta a over 1 plus bx squared squared. So equating the left and the right hand sides together, we do get delta a equal to 8 times b, or a equal to 8b over delta, however you want to look at that. That was interesting, but now we have this one equation in 3 unknown parameters. So yeah, we're gonna need a couple more equations if we actually want to solve this problem. The good news is we do have boundary conditions that we can use, and I know what you're thinking, we don't have the function y yet, but we do have boundary conditions and we do have an equation in the first and second derivatives. So let me recall those boundary conditions by scrolling up here. Okay, and of course I will recall the actual differential equation. Okay, so we know, or we are given these two boundary conditions for y and its derivative, y prime at 0 is 0, and y of 1 is equal to 0. And given our differential equation, that is y double prime plus 1 over xy prime, if we evaluate this thing at x equal to 1, what on earth would we get? Well, let me just look at the left-hand side, what it looks like over here. All I have to do is plug in x equal to 1, and I'm left with negative 8b over all of that junk. So we have negative 8b. Terribly sorry about that. Writing 8 has always been a struggle for me. So negative 8b over 1 plus b squared. And this would be equal to the right-hand side evaluated at x equal to 1, which is negative delta e to the y. And y at 1 is equal to 0. So that means this thing is equal to negative delta. Okay, cool. So that means delta is actually a function of the parameter b. And that means we can solve at least one of our problems. We can determine the maximum value of delta. So I'll just differentiate this with respect to the b parameter, d delta over db. That looks exotic. Is equal to 1 plus b whole thing squared times 8 minus 8b times 1 plus b, and there's a 16 over there. Then there's a 1 plus b squared down there. So d delta, terribly sorry about that, over db equal to 0 does imply that the 8s can cancel out, and you can factor out you can factor out 8 times 1 plus b, and then you're left with 1 plus b minus 2 times b, correct? So this equals 0. But that would imply that b plus 1, terribly sorry about that, times b minus 1 is equal to 0, which would imply that b squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So I could have just solved it via factorization up here. What am I doing? Why am I overthinking this? So b could be equal to 1 or negative 1. Which one of these actually works? We can immediately see that. If b is negative, then we have delta being negative, but delta is supposed to be a positive parameter. So that means we can reject this b equal to negative 1 claim and write the max value of delta at b equal to 1. So that's going to be 8 times 1 over 1 plus 1 squared. And oh boy, what did this sort out to? This has gotta be 4, right? It's gotta be 4. Come on, it's gotta be 4. It has to be. And oh dear me. I cannot believe I survived that. So the max value is actually equal to 2. And now that we have the max value of delta, we can determine the value of a because, well, we also have the value of b corresponding to the steady state solution. So this implies that, remember that a was equal to 8b over delta? Yes, indeed. So this thing would equal 8 times 1 over 2, which is, why are my hands suddenly shaking? Oh yeah, it's 4. It's gotta be 4. Oh man. Okay, so that was the toughest part of the video. I'm glad that the toughest bits came towards the end when all of the simpler math was done anyway. So that means, oh, wait, I forgot to write out the solution. I mean, how could I? Went through all this trouble, and why should I stop here? So this means that that y here equals log of a, that's 4. My 4s are atrocious as well. Over 1 plus b, which is like 1, so that's x squared. Bx squared squared, right? Oh, yeah. X squared squared. But 4 is 2 squared, so that means we can write this thing as 2 times log of 2 over 1 plus x squared. And that is the solution to our differential equation. And we also have the max value of delta. Thank you once again, Michael, for the problem. This was an absolute treat. I'm sorry I took so long with it. I actually forgot that this problem was even sent to me. But then suddenly my OCD kicked in, and I'm glad I actually gave it another go. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Do drop me a follow on Instagram as well. Thank you. See you next time.